Welcome back. All right, so we're done. There's sunlight outside, so we're done for today. And some pretty decently surprising results from today too. We had the 5 games, of course. If you're looking for me to discuss the Washington-Boston game, that video has already been posted to the channel. So I was considering doing split videos between the other games today, and I thought, nah, the time the crossover between the games was just too much. So we're going to discuss the Rangers and the Devils game first. The Rangers and Devils game, of course, started early. It was a matinee game as well. And it was Georgiev versus Blackwood. And, of course, this was the New York Rangers looking for the 4-game sweep over New Jersey. 4 games in a row. You want to win all 4. And they did pretty well. So Trouba had an early chance. That was stopped. The Rangers would get a power play, and they score on it. It's Kreider, who got off the schneid with an empty netter in the last game. He gets a power play marker here from Zibanejad and Panarin at 6:31. Zibanejad and Panarin, those guys are scoring a lot of points right now. So if you have them in your fantasy league, they're getting you a lot of points. Devils then press at the half. That was not successful for them, but they did show a lot of fight back in this game. They did. And then Kravtsov would score from Howden at 14:03. That one counts. That's number 1. And it was on a turnover. Now, what's interesting, too, is that in the post-game, they interviewed Kravtsov and they said, how do you feel about your first goal? And he goes, it was number 2. So, kind of like, yeah, I scored it before, so I know how to find the net. So, for Kravtsov, this one counts. But to his mind, and I agree with him, that was the second goal. Devils then get a power play. That was not successful. And Georgiev got hurt. And it looked bad. Like, at the time that Georgiev left the game, it looked like it was bad. So, Shesterkin goes in. And it looked like it might be a pulled groin, might have been a hyperextension. He was moving from one side to the other. We know how dangerous that can be with a goaltender. So just a seemingly innocuous play that doesn't really mean anything. And the next thing you know, goalie's out for 3 weeks. So he was out. He would come back, though, which was good news for Rangers fans. Last moments of this, Shesterkin made a nice save. He would save both shots he faced. Georgiev would come back. Second period, Blackwood denied Strome on a break. And then it's Lafreniere from Hedel and Kakko at 5:17. And then I felt bad for Lafreniere. Here's why. So Lafreniere hits Blackwood, but he hit Blackwood because Tennyson threw Lafreniere at Blackwood. So he throws a guy to run his own goaltender over. To quote Pepper Brooks, it's an interesting strategy. Let's see if it pays off for him, Cotton. And yeah, there was a nice scrum after that goal, and both Lafreniere and Blackwood were slow to get up because, yeah, that's just how that works. Studenic then boarded Lindgren. That was a 2-minute call. At first, it didn't look like they were going to call anything. The Rangers then get another power play. Hischier with a steal. Georgiev made the save. Blackwood stops a Panarin shot. So it's 3-0. But Maltsev would score from Sharangovich and Kuokkanen at 18:55. So there's that key late goal for New Jersey. And the momentum kind of pick up. Hischier hit the outside of the post early in the third, and then Studenic gets his first NHL goal, and it kind of came out of nowhere. Like, it was one of those plays you're like, he didn't save that. Maltsev and Johnson with the assists at 1:53, so that made it 3-2. And then it's Hischier who would score from Merkley and Nolan Foote at 5:30. So in Nolan Foote's first NHL game, he gets his first NHL point. So again, if you're a Devils fan, that's what you want to pay attention to. Guys with their first goals, guys with their first points, kids coming out and playing really well, getting their first penalties, this kind of thing, right? The Rangers then get a power play. The momentum had definitely shifted in favor of New Jersey. And there were points during that period where it felt like the Rangers were kind of holding on and that the Devils might be able to get that lead. However, Zibanejad would score from Strome and Fox at 17 minutes. So there's Zibanejad on the board with another goal, and he had an assist on top of that. And yeah, then they pull the goaltender with a minute and a half left, and at 19:35, the Rangers score that 5th goal. It's an empty netter. It's Strome from Blackwell and Panarin at 19:35. It's an awarded goal because he was hooked when he was going in alone on the empty net. So because he would have scored it, it's an awarded goal. I'm glad that we've started to see that more because it feels like it should have been given when it wasn't in previous seasons. So yeah, the Rangers win 5-3. They go to 23, 16-6. For the Devils, the descent continues 14, 24, 6. And don't look now, but they have to look over their shoulders at the fact Buffalo's coming up on them. So the shots in this one, New Jersey outshoots the Rangers 12-6 in the first. The Rangers outshot New Jersey 13-9 in the second. The shots were 9-6 in the third in favor of the Devils. Final shots 30-25 for the Devils. Power plays, the Rangers go 2 for 6. The Devils went 0 for 1. Hits 16-8 for the Rangers. Block shots 13 apiece. Georgiev saves 25 out of 28. Shesterkin saved the 2 in relief. And Blackwood 21 saves and 25 shots. So Georgiev gets himself the win. And Shesterkin, kudos for going in and not allowing a shot during that. I think it's 2 minutes and 19 seconds he played. So that was fun. And then I don't know what to make of Buffalo right now. So this is a completely different team. And I know people are going to point to Don Granato. Here's what I find amazing. This is without Eichel. So while I have said for at least a year, 2 years, can't see Eichel getting traded, the way Buffalo's playing right now, might be time to make a video where I talk about the positives and the negatives of a potential trade with Jack Eichel. Because, yeah, I mean, if you at least have to consider it right now if you're Kevin Adams. So Ruotsalainen would score on the first shot of the game from Cousins and Dahlin at 26 seconds. That's the kind of luck Buffalo wasn't having during that losing streak that went on for, 45, 70, 80 games. It felt like it, didn't it? Power play then for the Sabres. I mean, look at this. The Devils get a win, The Sabres get a win, and I'm not even wearing their jersey because it's become that, not expected, but unsurprising. Although, according to the Discord, this was a game that was heavily in favor of Pittsburgh. Some of the guys in Discord got some games wrong here, which is understandable because, yeah, Buffalo usually was the team that was losing. Power play chance for the Sabres. That's unsuccessful. Zucker gets a chance out of the box. Sabres then get another power play. That's unsuccessful. Rust had a good chance. Tokarski makes the save. Part of this run right now is Dustin Tokarski. He's been fantastic. He might be proven he deserves a shot at a job in the NHL next year. Reinhart then tipped one wide, but we go to the second period with it 1-0 for Buffalo. Second period, early. Reinhart scores on a turnover. Olofsson with the assist at 2 minutes and 18 seconds. So in the first period, early goal. Second period, early goal. Again, this doesn't feel like the Buffalo Sabres during the rest of this season. It really doesn't. Penguins get a power play shortly after that. Really good penalty kill by the Sabres, though. Very, very competent penalty killing from them. Penguins press, but the Sabres would clear. Sheahan had a shot that nearly fooled DeSmith. Almost caught him. Almost handcuffed him there. And it is a totally different Buffalo Sabres than what we saw, 3 weeks ago? Last minute press by the Penguins. We go to the third period. 2-0 Buffalo. The Penguins get the early chances. Solid defense by Bjork. Bjork doesn't get on the board today with a point, but he had some nice defensive plays. So, honestly, Anders Bjork has become in Buffalo what he was envisioned to be in Boston, and I'm happy for him. Skinner had a break. DeSmith made the save on that. Penguins with back-to-back icings. The shots were 4-2 in favor of the Sabres at 5.5 minutes. So you would think this game's more important to Buffalo, when it really isn't. And then Rob Ray gets the quote of the day when he said, "You were nothing up to that point." He was talking to Rick Jenneret about calling the Mayday goal back in '93. And he said, well, that was what made you famous. And Jenneret's like, really? And he goes, yeah, you were nothing before that call. I'm paraphrasing a bit, but it was really funny. It was a good exchange, and it goes on the board. Sabres get a power play shortly after that, and they score again. It's Reinhart on the power play from Olofsson and Dahlin at 8:02. So Olofsson with a couple of helpers. Reinhart with another goal. It's 3-0. But, Pittsburgh, just keeping that doubt in your mind just a little bit. Zucker scores from McCann and Carter at 10:18. So Jeff Carter with his first assist. And, yeah, we'll see how things go. Risto whiffed on the puck. Basically, Ristolainen had a chance to clear it, and he didn't. So it's 3-1. Then there was a power play for the Penguins, and then I put up there, come back with a question mark. No. The Sabres would kill that off, and then with 5.5 minutes left, the Sabres get a power play. It was unsuccessful, but was it? Because it takes 2 minutes off the clock, right? So the goaltender gets pulled with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left, and that gives Rasmus Asplund a shot at the empty net. He takes it. He gets it. Mittelstadt with the assist at 18 minutes and 12 seconds. Casey Mittelstadt stays red hot. Before the game's over, Pittsburgh would score a goal just to make it a little closer. Teddy Bluger with that one from Rodriguez, and Ceci at 19 minutes and 36 seconds. Your final score, 4-2 in favor of Buffalo. They go to 12, 26, and 7. And here's the thing. They're 3 points behind Ottawa. I believe they're now 4 points behind New Jersey. They're 4 points behind Anaheim. Buffalo could move up the standings before the season's over. It's remarkable. Pittsburgh 28-14-3, and they're going to be kicking themselves that they didn't sweep these games with Buffalo. This is that, in that fight for first place, this is going to come down and as one of those games they really wish they'd won. And from Boston, you'll get a thank you Buffalo for this one. Shots 12-9 Pittsburgh in the first, 13-9 Pittsburgh in the second. The shots were 11 apiece in the third. Final shots 36-29 for Pittsburgh. Power plays, Pittsburgh 0 for 2, Buffalo 1 for 4. Hits 22-13 for Buffalo. Block shots 13-11 for Pittsburgh. Casey DeSmith 25 saves on 28 shots, and Tokarski, who remains this big story that we should all be talking about, 34 saves on 36 shots. But again, Buffalo's playing out the string, but they look pretty good. It's not considered a great draft class, so I wouldn't really worry about moving down in draft picks for Buffalo this year. I think this is a year where you're not really worried about it. Next year's when you get a really good shot at a potential franchise player. All right, next up, Vegas. So Anaheim came out and played better today. Not that you can tell from the score. So it was Fleury versus Gibson. Vegas was sharp early in this one. Tuck had a shot that was snagged by Gibson. Alex Tuck remains a danger every time he's on the ice right now. Shots were 3-2 for the Ducks, though, at 3 minutes. So the Ducks were playing relatively well. And then at 3:25, Pacioretty scores from Martinez and Stone. So it's 1-0 for Vegas, although the Ducks had played relatively well. However, they answer a 4-on-1, and I still don't. I don't know how that happens. 4-on-1 should never happen, especially since Vegas is the #1 defense in the NHL. Not sure what happened here, but it's Comtois who would score on that from Raquel and Manson at 6:23. So very nice, fast rush. It was a turnover. It ends up with a 4-on-1. I'm sure Peter DeBoer let him have it after that. It's 1-1, and they kept showing the Vegas strip. Now I know that's because I'm watching the Vegas feed. But the Anaheim feed would be on the Bally's and with the music, and if I can avoid that, I do. So, but they kept showing the Vegas Strip. As somebody who's been to Vegas, is it 4 times? It's 3 or 4 times. It's a lot. I miss going to Vegas. I can't go to Vegas. Just think about that for a second. There are people who can't see the Strip right now. Ducks then get a power play. That was a no. Didn't score. The Ducks now have the 31st ranked power play. They fought really hard all year. Minnesota got hot, so they now are the undisputed champions of power plays that just aren't very effective. Long time since the last goal or shot for Vegas. In fact, to build dramatic tension, they went over half a period without a shot, and then they get one, and it went in. Pietrangelo from Pacioretty and Martinez at 14:46. It was like the reverse of what happened in the last game, but the score still remains basically the same. So yeah, Vegas got a shot, and it went in the net. It's Pietrangelo, so it's 2-1 Vegas, even though Anaheim was outplaying them to that point. Ducks then go back to the power play. They had exactly 2 minutes left. That was unsuccessful, of course. We go to the second period, and Nick Roy, who went, 15 games without a goal? He went a long time without a goal. He scores from Carey and Whitecloud at 2:43. That's the 7th shot to that point in the game for Vegas. So while the save percentage by the end of the game was decent for Gibson, he allowed 3 goals on the first 7 shots. It was a rough night. Ducks 13 shots to that point. So it had to be really frustrating because the Ducks had kind of arguably at least played even with Vegas, if not better, and the score's 3-1 for Vegas. Power play for Vegas, that's killed off. Jones had a break, and that went wide, and then Tuck had a break after, and that was saved by Gibson. And then Heinen, before the period's out, he scores for Anaheim from Henrique and Silverberg at 14:06. And then there was a too many Ducks on the ice penalty. Well, it's too many men on the ice. Be great if there was extra Ducks out there, though, wouldn't it? There's actual real Ducks. So I don't want to give them an idea for the Mighty Ducks show. Don't send that to them. So yeah, late Vegas power play, and they score on it. It's Stone on the power play from Theodore and Fleury at 18:13. And don't look now, but Stone, who's been getting a bunch of assists, he suddenly started getting goals now. So that made it 4-2, and then they go right back to the power play. It's unsuccessful, but we go to the third. Gibson making saves. Strong start for Vegas because they're Vegas. Shots were 5-1 for Vegas of 4 minutes. They know going into this third period, we just need a good period of hockey, and we're going to win this game. Tuck was keeping up with his break chances. Like it feels like Tuck is always waiting for or receiving a home run pass. That's just how his game works. Volkov then collided with Yurcho. Ducks had words with Yurcho after, but it was just a collision. It wasn't Wasn't what we're going to talk about in a game that's on the other board. The Ducks then get a power play, and that was just a giant no. There wasn't even a shot on that power play. Fleury then denies Comtois after that's over. There was a delay of game. Ducks power play with 8:43 left. Nope. Fleury having a really good game, not having any of it. Ducks power play just unsuccessful on the night. Goalie pull with 2:45 left. They call a timeout with 2 minutes and 12 seconds left. And the empty net goal is Tuck's, and he earned it. He scores from Roy and Nosek at 18:33. So Nosek on the board again. I think he had a goal in the last game. For Nick Roy, that's a goal and an assist. And for Tuck, yeah, like I said, he earned that goal. Vegas wins 5-2. They go to 31-11-2. They've now tied Colorado for first in the division. They're winning all their games as you want to do while Colorado's down. Anaheim 14-25-7 now. And again, they're getting dangerously close. They're only 4 points ahead of Buffalo. So there's that going on. Shots 12-6 Anaheim in the first, 14-11 Vegas in the second, 12-9 Anaheim in the third. Final shots were 35-29 in favor of the Ducks. Power plays, Vegas 1 for 3, Anaheim 0 for 4. Hits 21-15 in favor of Anaheim. Block shots 20-11 in favor of Vegas. Fleury saves 33 out of 35. That's win number 486 for him. I'll be tracking that now because I tracked the Ovechkin goals. I'll track the Fleury wins as well because he's getting close to Luongo. Gibson, 23 saves on 27 shots for him. And, yeah, it was just a rough day for Anaheim because a lot of them are. But they're almost done with Vegas. They just have one game left next Saturday against them, which is also in Anaheim. All right, time to change boards. Okay, Islanders and Flyers. A lot of notes. It's a lot of notes. I have to say, when you see a game that's 1-0 in overtime, you probably look at that score and you go, oh, that wasn't much of a game. This was a really good game. So it was Sorokin versus Elliott. Flyers wearing their thirds, and two teams that tonight look like they're struggling to score. Early save on Hayes by Sorokin, and get used to that. Get used to Sorokin making big saves, being as part of the notes on this board. The only shot in the game was that one save by Sorokin on Hayes for a while. In fact, at 7.5 minutes, the shots were 2-0 for the Flyers. So it was a very slow, meandering kind of start to the game. Very chess match, no room in the middle kind of game. The first Islanders shot was around the half. It was a good one, though, by Del Cole, but it doesn't go in, of course. Farabee misses high and wide on his chance. The game opened up a bit in the second half. It did. We got shots in the second half of the period and some chances. The Flyers pressed with 5 minutes left. The Islanders looked pretty flat, and they did have 5 goals in their last 4 games coming into this one. So there's definitely something going on. I'm not sure how much of it is mental, how much of it is just, without Anders Lee, maybe that's starting to hurt them, but they can't get those goals right now. In the last minute, there was a 2-on-1. Barzal fires wide, and things get kind of scrummy at the buzzer because teams are getting sick of seeing each other. So a lot more scrummy exchanges at buzzers. Second period, early power play for the Flyers, and Sorokin very sharp when the Islanders were shorthanded on this one. And then Cizikas had a shot that goes through Elliott, and it went wide. So there was some good fortune for the goaltenders, whether it was posts or shots just barely missing wide, but still a pretty good game. Sorokin denied Allison, and he denied Hayes on back-to-back plays. 12 shots in the first period in total. There were 12 shots in the first half of the second period, showing how much it had opened up in the second period. Flyers getting more chances. Sorokin really trying to steal this game. And I'm putting that up there right in the second period. Another great save by Sorokin with 4:45 left. The Islanders get a fast break. That misfired. It was Beauvillier that had it and just couldn't quite bury it. Last minute, Nelson had a shot. Elliott makes the save. We go to the third period. Early power play for the Islanders. Elliott stops a Nelson chance. They would kill off that penalty. However, the Flyers, while they had a chance right after that penalty kill, as I think it was Hayes that came out of the box and got an opportunity, the Islanders go right back to the power play. So they had back-to-back power plays, and it just didn't happen. There was an Eberle turnover, which led to a chance for Couturier. The Flyers would kill that off. Cizikas, he was denied by Elliott as well. So both goaltenders kind of having a one-upsmanship party all night with one another. Palmieri had a chance that was saved. The Flyers had a 3-on-2. Coburn defended that, knocked it wide. Very, very good stick work by the Islanders and the Flyers defensemen in this game to make sure that nobody was in alone and nobody had really great opportunity without having to worry about a defender maybe knocking it off their stick. So you go to overtime, both teams really earning the point. And that's how their games go. This was the 6th of 8 meetings this year that went past 60. Coming into today, 3 of them finished in overtime. 2 finished in a shootout. This one would finish in overtime. The Islanders wound one up at around the 2-minute mark, and they would score. Leddy from Pajot and Eberle at 2:23 goes in off Sanheim and in. It's a rough break, but the Islanders win this one 1-0 in overtime. They go to 28-13-4, and for the Flyers, who really needed 2 points. The Rangers got 2 points. The Bruins got 2 points. They get 1. So they're 20-18-7. Shots in this one, 8-4 in favor of the Flyers in the first, 15-9 Flyers in the second, 13-6 Islanders in the third, and 2-1 Islanders in the overtime. So they really woke up in the third and in the overtime. Final shots, 30-28 for the Flyers. Power plays, the Islanders 0 for 2, Flyers 0 for 1. Hits, 29-27 for the Islanders. Always a lot of hits in an Islanders game, it seems. Block shots, 16-11 for the Islanders. Sorokin, his third shutout of the season and third career shutout. 30 saves on that. And Elliott, 27 saves on 28 shots. So yeah, not too bad. Now, people are going to have expected me to be wearing Canucks gear and talking about Canucks because of this. And I'm wearing my JT Miller jersey, okay? The Canucks weren't expected to do much in this game at all. On Discord, and again, there's the Discord link in the description for all videos. We have this this whole before the games you can go in and you know, who do you think's going to win kind of thing. 125 people today picked Toronto. 10, including my wife, picked Vancouver. And I get it. The Canucks were coming back, and it was all doom and gloom. And a lot of it, you know, you see this tonight, and it's accurate. The Canucks had, coming out of the first period, there were 8 players that were averaging less than 40 seconds a shift. The Maple Leafs had nobody who was under 40 seconds a shift. This was definitely a team who were, you know, struggling with their basically their stamina throughout the game, and they had to do rapid line changes. But, you know, this really feels like a big game. And somebody said on Twitter, this felt like a playoff game. It did. And it's maybe it's because they were off for so long, and maybe it's because nobody gave them a chance. So it's Holtby versus Campbell. Travis Boyd making his debut with the Canucks. Fast start, short shifts, as I said. Hyman with a wraparound chance. That was stopped. Then at 3:45, Nylander scores the 100th goal of his career from Tavares. And that was on a turnover. I think it was an Edler turnover, I want to say. I'm going to say straight out, before we even get to it, yes, Edler absolutely should be suspended for what happened in this game. Anybody who wants to say, well, it was a clean hair, oh, well, you know, Hyman, this, that. No, that needs to be suspension, and player safety should come out tomorrow with the announcement. I'd be very surprised if Edler doesn't get multiple games for that incident. The Leafs pressed at 5 minutes. I don't care how tired he was. So the Leafs pressed at the 5-minute mark. There was a power play for the Leafs. This felt like it was going to be a really ugly game. I honestly, I was watching this, and halfway through the first period, I was like, this game could be like 8-0. This could be really, really bad. Shorthanded chance early for the Canucks. It was a dangerous power play for Toronto, but it was killed off, and that power play still has major problems. Leafs were again playing well, but in the second half, the Canucks, their skating started to get better. You could see they started to get their legs back, and their hands started getting better too. There wasn't as much fumbling around with the puck. Besser had a chance, was stopped. Marner, always dangerous. Every time he's on the ice, he's a dangerous player. Hawryluk had a chance to deflect it out. I think today was Jace Hawryluk's best game as a Canuck. Just going to say, if you agree with me, you can. And if you don't, that's fine too. Second period, long change could hurt the Canucks. I put that right up here because I said this is the period of the long change. And it was something that was mentioned by Craig Simpson at the start of the period as well. And I thought, yep, this is where we're going to see if the Canucks are going to get destroyed or if they're going to make this close. And then the third period, who knows what happens, right? First minute, Horvat had a chance that misfired. Horvat really looked like he had a chip on his shoulder the whole game. If there's anybody anywhere, and I don't know of any Canuck fans, but anybody anywhere who ever had any doubts about this guy's ability to be a really strong captain in the NHL, this game and over the last few weeks, that's been dispelled. He is the face of the franchise right now. Horvat, yeah, with that break, misses wide. Holtby, poke check. Almost everything with Holtby was a poke check tonight. And it was amazing to watch. It's like he watched Fleury during the downtime and was like, I can do that. I'm going to go back and I'm going to show I can do that. And it was fantastic. Might have been Holtby's best game as a Canuck as well. Canucks pressed at 6 minutes, which was a surprise. But the Leafs then get their second power play. It was a dangerous power play. The Canucks survived it, but not really. Because what happens is the Leafs keep it in. And because of the long change, the Canucks can't make a change. Myers and Edler were stuck on the ice for over 3 minutes. Edler, probably pretty upset, winded, ticked off, does something stupid, and throws the knee out and injured Hyman. So I didn't see it initially, but they showed it on the replay, and as soon as they showed it, I was like, they've got to punish that. So that was 5 in a game, and no debate for me on that. Like I said, there should be a suspension. I don't know how long it's going to be, but there should be a suspension for Alex Edler on that. There's no room for that in hockey. That's the kind of play that could end a career. That's the kind of play that can absolutely end a player's career. So we can't have... I am so happy that hockey now doesn't have the kneeing incidents that it used to have. What you saw tonight from Edler there, that used to be, I'm not going to say common, but it happened regularly in the NHL, I'll say 20, 25 years ago. It's, yeah... Brian Marchment comes to mind as somebody who kind of had perfected that. It's yeah, and we didn't like it back then either. But I'm glad they're rare. But the NHL should still. I'm not going to say throw the book at them, but if they do, you're not going to hear a complaint from me. Lots of Leafs chances during that 5 minutes because of course. But the Canucks did almost kill it. It was a very effective penalty kill. And then near the end of that major penalty, I think there was 18 seconds left in it, Matthews scores the power play marker from Nylander and Tavares at 15-15. So the Canucks look done. They're down 2-0. They're gassed. This is a team that looks like they're probably done. And I'm already at this stage to say, you know what? That's okay. You know, they've been off for a long time. These guys were, you know, they've been pressed into duty here. And if it ends this way, that's all right too, you know. However, Horvat scores from Höglander at 16:23 on a transition after Chatfield forces a turnover. And this may have been Chatfield's best game as a Canuck as well. And this was right after he turned it over to the Leafs and went in the other zone. And then he went and got it back. So Chatfield, my major issue with him early in the season when he came up was that he'd make maybe a rookie mistake, right? And then it would either end up in the net or whatever, and sometimes he was kind of meandering. Now, if he makes that mistake, he gets right back into the play and makes up for it. So Chatfield's game has definitely improved. The Leafs then pressed on the next shift. So it's not like the Leafs took their foot off the gas. They're still up 2-1. But in the late seconds, there was a chance for the Canucks. And you could see that there was maybe this feeling that there was a maybe. So we go to the third period. Leafs press at 3.5 minutes. The Canucks get their first and only power play. It was a no, but they did get a power play. There was a shorthanded chance for Marner. Holtby, fantastic save there. Simmons almost got one. Holtby makes the save. And then it's Höglander from Chatfield and Horvat at 12:03. That is the first NHL point for Jalen Chatfield. And I'm going to say right now, kudos to the kid. Because before the game started, I saw a lot of, oh, we've got Chatfield and Brisebois in the lineup. We're done. This is ridiculous. Apparently not. Brisebois, I thought, played okay as well. I mean, you know, unremarkable number 6 defenseman, but he didn't stand out for, like, really bad plays. There was not, like, a big turnover where I'm yelling, you know, Brisebois. So, reminds me of Montreal fans in the early 90s. Anyways, then there was a play where the puck looked in for the Canucks, but it was a crossbar, and it was Harlech, and Harlech looking skyward after. So Harlech had a very good game. Doesn't get on the board, but the hard work is greatly appreciated by this hockey fan here. The Leafs press with 3 minutes left. Matthews with a wraparound attempt. In the last minute, there was a chance for Matthews, and then there was a crossbar for Tavares. There was a last-minute chance. Then there was a crossbar for Matthews, and the question was, did it go in? There are Leaf fans who will say it went in. Holtby Luongo'd that. So when I say that, what I mean is that Luongo, there was a game against Dallas way back when he was playing for Vancouver. The puck crosses the line, but it was under Luongo's glove, and you couldn't actually see the puck in the net. Or no, it was under him. And so he just scooched forward. And when they asked him after the game, it was like, that puck was in the net, wasn't it? And he's just like, yeah. Holtby, same thing. Puck is probably in the net, maybe in the net. But he just kind of just scooched forward. Just scooch. they can't see the puck scooch forward. So they did a replay and they looked it over and they're like, yeah, no, we can't see that it went in, so call on the ice stands. So kudos to Holtby for having a great game. And then in the overtime, the Canucks controlled it. So if it's 3-on-3 and if you're, as a team, if you're gassed, just win the faceoff. And they did. And Horvat gets the goal from Myers and Besser at 119. And I heard commentators on Sportsnet saying Campbell should have had that one. The thing is, I think teams have an idea of where you score on Jack Campbell that started to show up over the last few games. And it feels like where Horvat shot that from, not an accident. And so that one goes in. The Canucks win the game 3-2 in overtime. 17-18-3 is their record now. Toronto 28-12-5. Yeah, they're 10 points behind Montreal. They've got 4 games in hand on Montreal. But we'll see, right? So I might have yelled loud enough that I woke her up. Every time I clapped, though, she kept meowing at me like, knock it off. So anyways, it was just, it was quite the show because Toronto, look at the shots. 12-8 in the first in favor of Toronto. 15-5 Toronto in the second. And then 12-10 Toronto in the third. Vancouver gets 1 shot in overtime. It's the shot that matters. Toronto didn't have the puck in overtime. Final shots, 39-24 in favor of Toronto. Power plays, Toronto goes 1 for 4. Again, that power play is still a problem. And Vancouver 0 for 1. Blocked shots, 23-13 for Vancouver. The hits, 13-11 for Toronto. One thing that Toronto doesn't have that probably would have taken the Canucks out of this game tonight is big hitters. If the Canucks had been out there against a team like Vegas, a team like the Islanders, a team that throws hits every shift, by the third period, they're done. But Toronto doesn't play that style, and I think that let the Canucks stay in this. Campbell saves 21 out of 24 in the loss. Holtby saves 37 out of 39, and for tonight at least, Holtby's the hero in Vancouver. That could change with the next game, sure. The next game will be against Toronto as well. Should be fascinating. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.